It's the much improved, thinner, more compact design of the Shinobi 2, coupled with the fact that you can actually control your camera just by touching things on the screen, which we'll show you in a bit. That's what really makes this so appealing. They really have slimmed this down, so it is a lot thinner than the Shinobi 1. If you compare them side by side with the Ninja 5, which is essentially the same as the Shinobi, just minus this little bit just here, you can see that there is a big difference in how thick they are. This bit is actually for recording to your SSD, in case you wonder, because you can record your screen with this, but they've really slimmed this down, and the thickest part is basically where your MP battery attaches. Either side here, it has been made a lot thinner. Having both the HDMI and the USB-C port on the back is a huge design improvement as well. There is no HDMI out on this for pass-through, so if that's something you need, you're not going to be a fan of this. But the ports on the back is way better than having the ports on the side, like the Ninja 5 does just here, like all my favorite other monitors have, the F7 Pro, and also like the PT6, where it has both your in and your out HDMI ports on the side. Why is this a big deal? Well, HDMI in for this one is on the side just here, and when that's mounted to the top of your camera, it's just something that's sticking out the side that becomes annoying, obtrusive. You might accidentally knock it. Having it on the back means it's tucked out of the way, and it's much cleaner when you have that just attached to the camera. You can do much better cable management. Overall, just ports on the back is a huge improvement. Really happy with that, and I'd love to see that on all monitors, to be honest with you. Now, one other thing that is immediately evident to people when they plug in a monitor for the first time is the color difference that the monitor has versus what your camera LCD screen shows you. Now, it's going to be really hard for me to demonstrate this just through the means of video because things can change, but take my word for it, the color straight out of the box of the Shinobi 2 compared to my FX3 is very similar, to the point where I see no reason to even try to calibrate this. And you can calibrate it using Atomos' software if you choose to do so. I believe there's another way through X-Rite as well. Now, a big elephant in the room here is going to be the size of these bezels. It is 2024, and they are huge. Bezels should be a thing of the past. So one of the reasons I like this PT6 so much is you only have the bezels on the side here, and I always get so many people asking, what monitor is this? Because the bezels are so small on the top and the bottom. I don't know why we haven't reached a point yet where bezels just aren't a thing. Maybe it's to protect the monitor, I'm not too sure, but the bezels aren't pretty looking. They're there. It is what it is. What I will say is this feels much higher quality in your hands when you're holding it, when you're using it, than either of these monitors do. And that is something that's pretty common with lower, I won't say quality, but lower price monitors in general, is they don't have a high quality feeling to them. This feels pretty good for a $349 monitor. One of the big selling points with this monitor, what Atomos is marketing it as, is a monitor that you can control your camera from. It's not the first monitor that can do this. There are other ones out there. This is the first time Atomos has done something like this. Portkeys does have one that you can do it, but it's via means of a Wi-Fi connection. I've tried it and it's okay, but every time you turn your camera off, you have to turn it back on, you have to resync, it becomes a pain. If there's interference, it disconnects. So having a cable is a much better way to implement the camera control. Now, there's various cameras that are supported upon launch, because this thing did only come out recently. FX3, Sony cameras are all supported. There's more cameras going to be coming later down the road with firmware. When you plug this in via USB-C, you get the menu that appears on the back of the FX3 there, and you want to tap on remote shooting. If it doesn't show you your camera up here, it's because you probably have this set up wrong. So if you go to control, change the connection type to, if it's on LAN C for whatever reason, change it to USB there, and then it will automatically detect the camera. Now, my FX3 has been updated to include shutter angle. It doesn't let you change this to shutter angle right now. It just says shutter, so I don't know if Atomos knew that was coming. I'm sure they did, because everyone knew it was coming, but you can't change that right now. Now, to actually control the camera itself via the means of the Shinobi 2, tap this little camera icon right here. This is your camera control menu. You'll see up here that there's a little box that gives you some information. That is the actual camera battery percentage, not the monitor's percentage of battery, the camera itself. So that's really handy to have on there. And you also see the amount of recording time left on your SD cards before you should start to panic. Tap on the little box there and it gives you more information, including the codec, the frame rate that you're in if you're shooting in 10-bit, and then bug number 1, which is the focus mode. It shows you as autofocus continuous, but if I change this on the actual lens to manual, which I've just done, it stays as autofocus. So that needs to be addressed in a firmware update, which I'm sure will be. Tap that again though to hide the problem for now. The big red button right here, you guessed it, that will trigger record to the camera. It means it sends a signal to the camera to start recording. You can then stop recording from there. You can also do the opposite. You can start recording here and it knows that you are recording via means of the big red box, the emphasized recording display, I believe it is called. You can start from there and stop from there. You can also start from there and stop from there. Whichever way you want to do it, it still works. When you are recording, you can change your white balance. You don't have to be recording. You can obviously not be recording and change all that information there as well. But in the middle of recording, you can change it. If you were shutter speed instead of shutter angle, and shutter angle as already said, you could change your shutter speed there. I'd recommend if you shoot video, if you have an FX3, update it to get shutter angle. It's just easier, less for you to have to change when you change frame rates. You can also control your aperture if your lens is set to A. If this is set to f16, like I'll change it right now, if this is set to that, you'll see that it still shows you on here, this is another bug, it still shows you the aperture, but you can't change it now. If I change this back to A there, we can now change it again. So they have to fix that as well. But you can change your aperture and you can also change the ISO within the camera as well. Now, if you're using Cine EI, that's not going to work the same. I'm on flexible ISO right now, just for reference. Let's get you a little bit more light in there so you can actually see some stuff. If you tap the screen, it gives you a clean feed. If you tap it again, twice, sometimes it's like twice and sometimes it's once. I don't know why that is, but that's how it works. If you record, we're already recording, you can go back and view all your tools as well. You can turn those on and off. In theory, once you're recording and controlling things from here, you really don't need to touch the camera. So take that however you want. If you set up in a way that means you have your monitor further away from your camera, you don't need to be by your camera if you want to be able to control it from the monitor. You just need a really long USB-C cable and HDMI cable. Now, Atomos did just tease that there is an update coming in terms of autofocus control. I don't know if that's going to be tapped to focus on the screen or what. We don't really know what that's looking like right now, but expect that to come soon. When this dropped, when this came out, that was a hugely requested feature from a lot of people that they thought it would have. Camera control, touch to focus. It makes sense, so just know that something along those lines is coming. They teased it right here on Instagram. Look, it says camera control with on-monitor touch autofocus and focus subject tracking in both photo and video camera modes in a free update. So it must be coming. And while we're on Instagram, did you see this yet?
What does a $100,000 idea look like? Share yours with the Artlist 100K Fund. We're happy. Submit your boldest, craziest creative dreams.
So if you've had an idea or a dream, something you wanted to create, but you're not sure how to go about funding it, this is potentially a way to do that. It could be a short film that requires a crew, locations, camera rentals. It could be some crazy YouTube idea where you want to buy every mirrorless camera, send them up in a balloon till they reach the edge of the atmosphere, the balloon pops and then all the cameras kind of hurtle to the ground, destroy upon impact, but you want to see which video still survives on the memory cards, then you could do that as well. It's $100,000 US that will go to one person to fund their idea. All you've got to do to enter is create a 90-second video that you need to post on one of your social media channels, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, just has to go on the one. Post it up there with your rough idea, your concept of what it is that you want to do, what you need $100,000 for. Tag artlist.io and use the hashtag Artlist100K Fund. Fill out the application that's going to support your concept. I'll put a link to all that and details below. And that's it. You've got till October 24th. Good luck. And thank you, Artlist, for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to talking about the Shinobi 2. Now, when you are changing these settings, there is a little tiny delay. It's actually changing immediately on the camera, but the monitor actually shows a little bit of a delay versus what the camera actually is displaying. So just be aware of that. It's just how it works. Now, if you're on a clean feed and you hit record, your menus all appear again, and then you have to tap to get your clean feed back. And then if you hit record again, your menus come back again. So it's another strange bug, but maybe that will get fixed, I don't know. And as I already said, if you are recording, you can tap this and go in and select the tools that you want, turn them on, turn them off, use them as you need to use them. But no, if you want to go back and stop recording, you have to go back into the menus here and tap it there. Or obviously you could be looking at your tools and stop recording from the camera itself. That works as well. Also, if you're in your tools menu, let's go to our analysis mode here where you can view multiple things at once, and you hit record on the camera, it doesn't recognize that you're actually recording. You then have to go back to camera control, and now it's like, oh, look, you're actually recording. Sorry, there's your box. So just be mindful of that. It feels like the camera control menu and the actual menus and tools that you get with the Shinobi 2 are very disconnected. It doesn't feel like they are blended together well at all, and I would love to see a better implementation of that in the future. Now, in terms of the actual tools that you get with the Shinobi 2, it's everything you would come to expect with these monitors these days. You have your false color, you have your analysis mode there. That's for monitoring your waveforms, your histograms, and your scopes all at once. You also get your audio levels on there, and you can control the brightness of all of these within here as well. You can tap the little X there to go back. You got your histograms just here, and if you tap the corner, you can actually change the size of the histograms across the screen depending on how you want it to be viewed. You can turn that off again. You can turn multiple ones of these on and off at the same time. I haven't figured out the right or reason of like what works with what, but you'll see that some work together and then you add another one and it turns a different one off. So just know that. This is your zebras there, zebras, and then your scopes. Turn that on and off. Focus peaking on or off. Your aspect ratio, you've got your grid lines on here. If you want to de-squeeze if you're using an anamorphic lens, and then your markers on the display there as well. If you tap on the little cog there, you get control over all of those menus, the opacity of them, the location of them. If you've used an Atomos monitor before, you're very used to what's in there. But you don't have onion skin overlay. That's where if you want to match up 2 frames across a different day or across a different shoot time, you can save the video from one as an overlay, and then you can try and match up. Don't have that with this, which is kind of annoying because that's a useful feature. I literally have to go and do a real estate shoot tomorrow where I need to do a day scene and a night scene and then blend them together like to show the transition of day to night, and trying to figure out how I'm going to do it without onion skin overlay. I might just use a different monitor. Now, one thing that's always been a mystery with Atomos monitors is how you turn them on and off. And what I mean by that is, I'll show you right here. You just have a switch, or button, sorry. I would love a switch. You've got a button right on the side there. And if you're like me, you're like, do I click and hold it? Do you tap it twice? Do you do DJI, like tap once, double tap twice? Having a button is a bit of a pain, if I'm honest. I typically prefer monitors that have a switch. The reasoning for a switch is you physically know if it is on or off just by switching it, obviously. So you don't have to worry about like how long you're holding it down or anything like that. But also if you permanently leave it to on and you're rigging up your camera and you have a master kill switch that just has all the power for everything on just with one switch, which you can do with, this is a V-mount plate from Condor Blue, and under here you have a master kill switch. So basically when you have your V-mount battery attached to this, you just turn this on or off and it sends power from this to be either on or off. So everything that, if your camera is turned on with the switch, if your monitor is turned on with the switch, you just immediately get power. So your power is controlled via this. You don't get that when you have a little button like that. When it comes to actually turning this on, Dana figured this out. We were both testing this monitor at the same time. It's not a click and hold or anything like that. It's literally just a little tap it once. That's it. That's all you got to do. And then you wait, because this thing's turn on time is slow. Very, very slow. We're talking like anything from 15 to 18 seconds. I'll let you watch it in real time there. Still waiting. We're getting there? Okay, we're on. So it's slow to turn on or off. And then when you want to turn it off, you can obviously yank the battery, or you click and hold this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then it's off. 5 seconds to turn it off. It's a bit of a pain, if I'm honest. I don't have the data to back this up, but the real world experience of using this one for a decent number of years, Atomos monitors seem to draw a lot more power and drain batteries a lot faster than other monitors just seem to do. Don't know why that is. It's always been the case. This is exactly the same. I'm not Gerald Undone, so I don't have all the data to back it up and tell you that, well, if you use an ambient temperature of 22 degrees in sunny weather, you're going to get... I didn't do that. I don't want to do that. I have no interest in doing that. What I can tell you is that I picked up these batteries from Amazon when they had their Fire Prime Day thing, whatever it's called. I've got another one too somewhere. Where is it? Because MP batteries technology really hasn't improved in years, and these came in a really interesting color. They're from Small Rig. They were 100 Canadian each, I believe, and green and orange. It's different, isn't it? But they're also huge. They have 10,500 milliamps, 7.3 volts, 76.65 watt hours. And they are heavier, but I ran these on the back of the, or one of these on the back of this for like a whole day of shooting on and off. And by the end of the day, these were never below 75%. That was 3 days in a row. How do I know that that was the percentage? Well, if you tap the screen on these, it gives you a real-time percentage indicator on a very fingerprinty screen there. You also, with these, get a USB-C power delivery in and out port. So that's how you can charge these batteries, but you can also power things out. And you also, on the other side, get a USB-A port, if anyone uses those anymore. Now, these on the back of here are going to increase the bulk quite a lot, and it's going to limit how much you can angle this down depending on the setup that you're using, or if you're using a higher mount on there, it really won't interfere with it that much. But it's going to add weight. But I will tell you, if you're looking at getting a monitor like that, just get these big batteries. You will not regret it. They give you a ton of power. They charge fast because they're power delivery, and you're not going to have to worry about bringing 5 other small batteries. If you can run one battery for the whole day and not have to change it, it's worth the little extra weight that these yield. Now, another nice thing with this monitor is when it is connected via USB-C and HDMI, obviously, this will in fact, let's turn this on. Whoop. Now we've got to wait half an hour again. But you'll see now that on the back of the camera screen there, come on, it's actually charging. You can charge, or the monitor will charge the camera at the same time of you being able to control it from the Shinobi 2. Now, that may or may not be a good thing for you. You can turn it off if you wanted to. You can physically go into the menus and turn off USB-C charging. Know though that if you turn the camera off, the Shinobi 2 doesn't know that it doesn't want it to be charged. So it will continuously drain the battery from this to charge the camera. So just be aware of that. As well as using a battery on here, because this can take power delivery, you can, if you wanted to, you can plug this into a V-mount or something with power delivery, and it will actually power it as well. So you don't have to use, there we go, I was wondering then, just because it took so long to turn on. I have already tested it, but still, you can power it via USB-C if you wanted to. And it is hot swappable with a battery. So I can plug a battery in, take out the USB-C, and the power remains on. Know though that you can't do the reverse. So I can't be on a battery that's about to die, plug it in via USB-C, and then take the battery out, because what will happen now is it will die, because just doesn't work that way. Most power delivery things, for example, from the battery right here, it needs to know that it needs juice to charge it. And if there's a battery already in it, it doesn't know that it needs juice until the battery is removed, if that makes sense. You can also power it via D-tap if you wanted to. If you have one of these Condor Blue D-tap to USB-C, so we can plug in via D-tap from this small rig battery here, plug it into the back here, and power via that means as well. So if you're rigging the camera up with a V-mount battery, you can get one of these USB-C to D-tap adapters and power it that way as well. This thing's actually super bright as well, 1500 nits, which is as bright as your iPhone is or can be when it's inside. That can go, like iPhone 15, it can go to 2000 though, it bumps it when it's outside. So it's about as bright as your iPhone can get, generally speaking. Or if you shoot at night, you can actually use it to light up someone's face as a key light. We did that by accident, shooting some night/sunset stuff on Highway 1 in California, and it actually looks really interesting as a shot. Touchscreen is as responsive as you'd expect with any Atomos product. Got an SD card slot on the side there. I've got my SD card in it because I just updated the firmware. Your power button's obviously there, and as we already said and we love, HDMI in, power delivery in and out. You get 10 watts in, 13 watts out. I did buy this myself. I did not get sent it by Atomos. I fully expected that I may not like it and have to return it, but I will very much be keeping this because it's probably my favorite new little monitor. Mostly the size, the fact that it really has been slimmed down, and that the ports that I need to use are on the back. Less so about the camera control functionality, if I'm honest, but that's just me. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.